very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the latest news and updates from the digital ecosystem. I'm Priya Sheth. Thank you very much for logging in. Time now to get you all the top news stories that we've been tracking for you this evening. Well, first up, digital sports platform FanCode has raised about $50 million from parent Dream Sports investment arm, Dream Sports Investments. This comes as the company looks to expand its reach and have a deeper connect with its customer base. Now, FanCode will look to expand its user base across a multi-sport platform as well as hire engineering and product development talent. Well, Indian fintech giant Paytm is aiming to raise about $3 billion in its initial public offering, scheduled for later this year. Sources indicated that the IPO could value the digital payments provider at around $25 to $30 billion and is likely to take place in November. Well, Gurugram-based integrated real estate startup Square Yards has launched a new platform offering home furnishing and interior services. The subsidiary called Interior Company has already set up offices in Bengaluru, Mumbai and Delhi NCR and is looking to scale operations pan-India and the Middle East. Well, moving on to the final headline of the day, Walmart owned Flipkart has expanded benefits under its seller financing program, which is called Flipkart Growth Capital, to support business continuity as well as growth for its seller partners. Now, Flipkart has forged new partnerships with multiple lenders under the Working Capital Loans program to increase the breadth of operations and opportunities available to lakhs of these marketplace sellers. All right, moving on to our second segment, I have with me someone who has diversified into the edtech space. I have with me Priyavrata Mafatlal, who is the founder of Uniform Junction. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Daily Dispatch. I want to begin by asking you about this foray into the edtech space. You know, the Mafatlal Group has traditionally been into uniforms, into the core business, but diversifying into edtech, was this a decision that you took, in the middle of this pandemic?
Yeah, Priya. Firstly, it's a pleasure to be here chatting with you. I think from our perspective, we've been around for more than a century as a family, as an organization, and I think this foray, as you say, into edtech has been. I would admit that it got us thinking during the pandemic. But for us, we've been in the uniform space for now more than 5 decades. So we understand the pulse, we understand what works. What works for schools, what works for the channel in between. So this was a natural progression for us, and I think we aren't here only to cater to the uniform space. I think that obviously is a very large space, but in addition to that, we intend to democratize the entire education industry, and we're confident that it's such a large industry. It's a massive industry. I mean, you're looking at 300,000 plus private schools, and that's only 25% of the number of schools. I mean, it's massive every way you slice and dice it. So I think the pandemic did definitely aid the thinking in terms of can we help schools that don't. Can we help schools actually become better and more efficient?
In terms of the last couple of months, a lot of people at this point in time have been shopping on Amazon, on other marketplaces for regular supplies, art and craft supplies, considering that schools are not on at this point in time. It's all online learning that's happening. What's been the kind of growth that you've seen on your platform so far?
So, Priya, for us, actually, we're not a marketplace as such. Our goal is actually to assist and be a support system to the school. So we've actually in 4 months we've already tied down with about 500 schools, and so schools are definitely very, very keen to partner with someone they can trust, someone they know that they can bring about a lot of efficiencies in the system. Most of the school, the education market today is unorganized, and that makes it very challenging for schools who aren't probably in the larger cities to get access to the right deals, the right brands, the right the whole supply chain gets really blocked, and that's where we come in and help the school. So for us, we've got about 500 schools on board, and we're looking to grow by 3 to 4x Y on Y.
These 500 schools, are they in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, or what geographies are these schools typically present in?
Yeah, so essentially, obviously some are in the cities, but a lot of them would be tiers 2, 3 as well. Uh, it's those schools that actually are aspirational. They want the same kind of deal, the same kind of product, the same kind of service that any school in a Mumbai or a Delhi or a Bangalore might get, and they just don't have access to that.
Right. I was looking at your website. You also have some online courses that you offer.
Yes.
So are these online courses in collaboration with schools that you'll be putting out, or are these mostly independent courses that have been crafted by your tech team?
No, for sure. It's something that the school also wants. We're here to make the school NEP ready. With the new education policy coming in, I'd probably say a majority of the schools are not aware of how do they make themselves NEP ready. If they're aware, they don't have the bandwidth or the whereabouts to actually do that. So we're definitely, through the services piece, we're definitely going to help schools become NEP ready. Take for example, mental health. It's such an important topic today, and it's unfortunately gotten steam only in the last couple of years. We think we come from a society where unfortunately we think if someone's gone for some kind of mental health, he or she is a bit cuckoo, and that it shouldn't be that. If you're feeling a little off in your tummy, you're gonna take an Eno, or you're gonna take a medicine. So I think the same thing applies for mental health. The pressure of dealing with failure for students is very, very high today. As they call the rat race, everyone wants to make it to that 0.01%, and not many people actually help them understand that it's okay to not make it. You try your best. So I think the pressure is so much for students today. They're bombarded with information. Students are bombarded with information. So I think mental health is just an example where it's something very, very important. It's very, very today, and it's and students need it. So that's one of that's just an example of how we will actually help schools with the services piece.
Will you be also looking at expanding the pie in terms of diversifying into more services like child counseling or perhaps counseling for higher education? Are these things on your annual?
We're already in that. For example, our psychometric test, we give an option of 350 career choices, be it nanotech, be it AI, be it. So we're giving a more holistic kind of approach, and counseling is definitely very, very integrated in this. A lot of the schools we've spoken to, they have come back saying that, listen, can you help us with the counseling piece? Can you help us with yoga? Can you help us with, we want to teach Sanskrit? Can you help us with mental health? So these are things coming from schools. It's clearly, whether it's the NEP or not, it's the need of the hour. A lot of the schools actually want it. They see that their kids actually needing it, and they probably don't have the resources from an individual point of view or from a money point of view.
Largely online courses that you would be offering?
These will be omni-channel. Like most of the courses will be online, but obviously mental health, career counseling, those will be offline. So the entire venture is going to be omni-channel.
So 3 things that you would focus in 2021, what would be the top 3 aspects that you focus on?
I think primarily one is get as many schools on board as we can. As I said, this market is humongous in any way that you look at. See, education is a trust aspect. There's a very serious trust aspect attached to education. The moment a parent wants to send a kid somewhere, they will always check, about the teacher, about the school, so I think trust is building that trust, and that would happen only by actually, speaking about the fact that, listen, we're not any other startup. We're a 116-year-old startup, if you look at it, right? So we're here to stay, and we're here to be your support system. So I think that would be the second point. And the third point would obviously be, just basically adding more courses, adding more programs, adding, the uniform piece is obviously very large. That's there. And just becoming, a single vendor, so to say, for schools to deal with, rather than them having to haggle their heads with probably 10 or 15 vendors.
Final question as far as revenue is concerned and the road to profitability. I wanted to understand what kind of revenue targets you're working with for FY22 and when do you think you could be profitable?
So we're, as I said, we've got about 500 schools on board. We're looking to grow at a 3 to 4x kind of run rate. We're definitely gonna, because it's such a large opportunity, we're definitely gonna go out for funding this year. And we're quite confident to kind of be profitable in the first 4 years, or at least break even by then. So I think it's a large market, but it comes with a large responsibility, and there is a sense of confidence that we can deliver on that, coming with the kind of background, coming with the kind of experience that we have.
You spoke about funding and that you'd be hitting the market for funding this year. Wanted to check whether it's the parent that's going to be funding you or whether you're going to look at external sources of funding.
No, external sources of funding. We've actually set this up intentionally separately from the parent company. We do see synergies between the two, and we will unlock those synergies as we go ahead, which will benefit both the ventures. But I think just the sheer size of this opportunity, it needs that kind of growth and that kind of scale. So we're definitely going to go for external funding.
All right. All the very best for your venture. And we do hope that you scale to the heights that you expect to. Thank you very much for being a part of the Daily Dispatch. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, time now to wrap up this edition of the Daily Dispatch. I'll catch you on Monday at 5 p.m. Goodbye and have a lovely weekend.